to Evil Dread. I'm Wyeth.
I'm Lynn, and today we have a special guest.
Hi, my name's Tyler.
This is Tyler, the true MVP, and if you hear a little bit of meowing, that is Palmer, his little kitty cat, who's our fourth recorder today.
It's a crowded lineup today. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So today was my pick, and I made us go on a road trip because this movie has been really important to me and Tyler. It was like it's a hallmark of our friendship, maybe.
A cornerstone.
Yeah, that and Grease.
Yeah,
but,
weirdly.
Yeah, this one's more applicable. So we watched Ginger Snaps, and we drove an hour to Tyler's house.
Sure did.
To record our review of it. So yeah, what did you guys think? Me and Tyler know what we think.
I know you both love this movie. I watched it, and afterwards I was struggling with my feelings, and I talked to Anne Louise, who's seen it, and she summed it up with, "It feels like a rough draft movie."
Shut up!
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I wrote in my notes, similarly, it feels like a Disney Channel movie for teenagers.
Oh my god, it does.
It has all the tropes, but like it's like don't look under the bed, ratchet it up like 3,000%. It's like visible period blood,
yes,
and dog carcasses.
Luck of the Irish for girls.
The 13th year for periods.
I've been wanting to see this for a while, and I liked the core sisters. They both did a great
Bridget
job.
And Ginger.
It was very well made in terms of like production value, but it has not aged well. Being a '90s movie.
Me and Tyler are already turning on you. Okay,
I know. I knew this was coming.
This is what happened with like the Lost Boys too. Like he's a naysayer, but I don't like some of his movies, so it's it's balanced.
It balances. We try and balance it.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack just varies wildly. Amazing? From like Limp Bizkit to keyboard creepy.
Loved it. Okay, but did you guys notice, like, I'm skipping immediately to the credits. It was funded by the government of Canada.
I believe that. They're pretty good about funding things.
I know, but like it's weird because I couldn't see like the Trump administration funding a movie about werewolf girl periods.
Listen, I can't see the Trump administration funding anything that's not like Fox News backed.
That's true, but I mean like just thinking of this as I'm like this is government subsidized while they're like faking suicides all over the place. It's really funny.
What normal Canadian teen life is like.
Honestly, if you listen to Nicole Dollanganger, I think that's true. They're all demented goth little girls in Canada.
This is so, like, the opening shot is a group of kids playing hockey.
Yes.
And that truly lets you know you're not in America.
Wyeth texted me while he was watching this and said, "Ugh, this movie is so Canadian."
I did not make that first noise. I don't know where that came from.
That was the tone of the text, I think.
Nope. I was just like, this movie is so Canadian.
I'm sorry I misrepresented you on this podcast that everyone listens to.
I forgive you.
So you want to do the plot overview?
I would love for you to, since this is a very special movie.
Okay, you want to give the background for us, I guess?
Yeah.
It would inform kind of our obsessive love of this movie.
Okay, so a thing that Lindsay and I would do sometimes as teens is watch movies that are on IFC and text each other through the whole thing.
As if we were in the same room.
Yeah.
Because
like live commentary of the movie.
We both lived kind of remotely.
Yeah.
I lived in the woods and Tyler lived like on a country road. So we never really got to see each other. So we texted each other during like Daria and Mr. Show and the IFC Midnight movie, which was our favorite one, and it came on at like midnight on Friday nights. And we would get into it.
Every third week that was like Ginger Snaps.
It was Ginger Snaps constantly. Also, there are 2 sequels to this movie.
I saw on Wikipedia.
Yeah, they're not as good. Even though one features a young Tatiana Maslany. Yeah, so she's great. But Tyler and I, we've been best friends since 10th grade, so going on 8 years, which is mind-boggling because no one's ever been my friend that long, other than you.
Same, honestly.
But you moved away like after a year and a half or something. So most of our friendship has been correspondence. Mm-hmm. If this was like 1890 and historians like found our letters, they would be like, "Oh, what was going on there?" Yeah. Like we're we have an epic friendship story told through text messages. But yeah.
Well, and then like the texting each other and like watching things is like such a good foundation for a friendship where you're not gonna see each other.
Yeah. We'd be like, okay, are you down for 11 p.m.? And
yeah.
Okay. We'd just do it, and it was great. But Ginger Snaps was the one that we watched multiple times.
A lot.
We loved it. It was like a constant reference point, I guess, in our friendship. Mm-hmm. Especially Sam, whom I love with all my heart. But we can get into that later. Okay, so that's the background. Me and Tyler are like Ginger Snap stands from the beginning, mm-hmm. when it was on IFC constantly. So yeah, the movie, I guess we can get into plot summary. It starts with like a like wolf or a dog or something, like some animal is like menacing this suburb, I guess. This Canadian suburb where it's like constantly very pretty foliage or whatever. And so dogs are turning up like gutted.
The amount of dog corpses in the first like 15 minutes of this movie is uncanny.
There's a lot of like dog intestines.
Like how did they not see that huge dog dead on the field hockey?
I know. Yes, they like trip over a giant fucking dog carcass, mm-hmm. And they're like, "Where did that come from?"
Just in the middle of the field.
It's just commonplace now.
I guess. Like, oh man,
so many dead dogs lately. They're really just everywhere.
And yet that bitch, like Trina, kept taking her giant ass dog to school. I'm like, you're like cruising for a bruising from this werewolf. Anyway, so yeah, their little town is being menaced to the Fitzgerald sisters.
The most Canadian goth sister duo I've ever seen.
Yes, amazing. I mean, there aren't many to compare them to.
I know of none other.
But yeah, they're fantastic. They start the movie by like staging suicides, like Harold and Maude style, but for a photo project.
I legitimately thought that they were already werewolves and that they could just kill themselves and like regenerate.
That's stupid. I've never thought that in my life. That's really funny though.
Plausible.
Yeah, it is though. That's hilarious.
But those two sisters have some incredible prosthetic skills in terms of gore.
They like went to Tom Savini's like college.
I believe that from what they pull off to the horror of their teachers.
Yes. So they're kind of like the fucked up creepy girls in school who like sit and smoke and are like, they have a suicide pact, basically, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
And the first few times I watched this, I thought it was so weird that they do like a bait and switch thing where they're like, are they committing suicide? No, it's a photo project. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, they do want to commit suicide, though.
Yeah.
Just in case you were unsure that they wanted to kill themselves, they do.
They definitely did. They mentioned that they made this suicide pact when they were 8, which like...
They've been creepy a long time.
Yeah, that's really... And it's out by 16 or dead on the scene. Mm-hmm. Together forever.
Which, them being that dramatic about suicide is the most extreme reaction to their, like, baby boomer parents.
Yeah, like, well, they're... Explain. Elaborate.
I feel like kids always, like, kind of go the opposite way of their parents in mm-hmm. some form of rebellion. But their parents seem they don't seem overly, like, harsh or critical. They just seem very...
They put up with a lot.
They do. Their dad is basically a lukewarm bowl of oatmeal.
He's milquetoast.
Very much so. Their mom is legitimately crazy, I think, though.
I liked the mom.
I liked the mom at the end. She became very ride or die with their kids.
We'll get to that, but yeah, she has an amazing scene towards the end. But yeah, they're exhibiting some really concerning activities like, mm-hmm. and impulses, and their mom is just like, Ginger, don't you use that language at the table? Don't you?
Their mother is so interested in their periods.
Yeah, well,
She
because
gets
they're.
excited
She
about
does. She's like, oh my gosh.
You girls are 3 years late. It's
Okay,
period watch.
that is concerning though.
Okay,
Like,
yes.
so she has a right to be concerned that her daughters haven't menstruated yet. They're like almost 16.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, she like has no qualms bringing it up at the dinner table, which is hilarious. That's one thing I love about this movie is that it just does not give a fuck if you're uncomfortable about women's periods or periods in general. It's hilarious. I love it. But yeah, so long story short, after they attempt to steal Trina Sinclair, the bully at school, they attempt to steal her dog and like feed it to this monster, I guess, this like wild animal that they think is menacing. And of course that goes wrong, and Ginger gets attacked by a werewolf.
Mm-hmm. This movie does. I liked how it did away with most of the werewolf mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no silver bullet.
They keep mentioning like my van did a pretty great job on that werewolf.
It's
like we don't need
aware,
a silver bullet. So yeah, which is great because I think that's my biggest pet peeve in horror movies is when it clearly takes place in our world, but these people have never seen a horror movie before.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh, I don't know the rules or whatever. Like everyone knows the rules, but this way they subvert it and they genuinely don't, even though they expect to. So yeah. So Ginger, like moments before she gets attacked by the werewolf, she gets her period. It is very heavy-handed.
Oh yeah. Nothing in this movie is dealt with in a light
Subtly?
touch. No.
Yeah.
It's like a swimming with sharks. Smell your blood.
Yeah, they mentioned that. Yeah. So yeah, it's clearly tied to menstruation and like coming of age as a woman. That was one question I had. I want to see what you guys think. Why were they so like adamantly against getting their period? Like, why were they so like furious and embarrassed about that?
I think it's because they don't like the other girls so much, and any of the scenes where they're like at school or in public, and you see other girls and they're like shallow or mean and they're thinking, okay, well, if I become a woman, am I going to be like that?
Yeah.
They didn't want, because, yeah, all the girls at school are all about the guys. And the sisters didn't want to become that.
Yeah. See, I thought it was that, like, internalized misogyny, which is, like, super relatable. You know, I was definitely like that as a teen, which, you know, that was why this movie was relatable, I guess. But, also, I thought maybe it had to do with they didn't want to live that long. Like, that meant that they missed their chance or something to kill themselves. They didn't want to grow up. And so that was, like, the symbol of growing up and, like, becoming like everyone else. So they wanted to, like, kill themselves before that happened. I don't know. It's a little muddy, but, like, I think both reasons are valid. Yeah, but the thing is, once Ginger becomes a werewolf, well, it's like a month lag time, right?
Yeah. Like, it's not only on full moon nights.
Well, I thought it was. Okay, but like she gets bit. It was like September 30th or something, right? And then for the rest of the month, she's like getting more and more like feral.
Yeah,
and then she finally turns.
It's a
like,
gradual growing into it.
Yeah.
Almost Brundlefly-esque.
Yes, true. But like she transforms on like the 30th of October. Like it takes a month for her to like fully transform. But she's getting crazy.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think of that?
It sort of reminds me of Jennifer's Body.
Yes.
Too, in the way that like you can be like scary and sexy. I don't know.
I saw it was on Tumblr, but there was like someone put the scene of Ginger walking down the hall when she's like finally becoming sexy and like in slow motion with the scene of Jennifer walking down the hall in slow motion. Same scene. Yeah. It is so similar. Also, like, side note, this is very, like, trivia-esque, but Emily Perkins, who was Bridget, was in Juno. So, like,
I did not know
they,
that.
Huh.
yeah.
This, like, the dialogue, a lot of the dialogue was really funny. I
Mhm.
laughed a lot.
Yeah. Written by a woman.
That explains it.
Love it.
But it felt like a horror precursor to Juno.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, like, Canadian weird girl sensibility, which
Mm-hmm.
was very Juno. But yeah, I don't know, I like, and you guys might, well, Wyatt might not like this because he doesn't really like mixing genres, right?
What?
Well, The Lost Boys, you were like, is it a kid's movie or is it a teen movie? I feel like.
Mixing genres was not the problem with
Okay.
that movie.
Excuse me, there was no problem with that. Anyway, but like, I thought it was the perfect mix of like high school movie and horror. It had all the tropes of a high school movie with all the tropes of a horror movie.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. It's just that the tones in it kind of just varied. Like, especially at the end when it got really serious.
Oh yeah, it does feel like super dark.
It didn't feel earned.
Okay.
It does have kind of a confusing tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it goes from Disney Channel wacky, like the Pulp Fiction as seen with the syringe and the boy,
Yeah.
where it's silly, but then it goes to like really dark and angsty, and so it's just like.
I think it's best when Ginger's being played for laughs, honestly, because she's like over the top, hyper sexualized, hyper intense, and Bridget is just like unprepared to deal with it.
Oh, Bridget was a real MVP.
I love Bridget so much.
She is in so deep over her head.
Yes. And like, I love that this movie allows her to be like a kid. She's like 15, right? So, and it's not making her like overly sexy. It's not making her like super like she like has no makeup on. Her hair looks like shit. Like, and she's just trying very hard to like save her sister. And even in her relationship with Sam, it's not sexualized.
I like that they didn't make it that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, pretty much all the way through the movie, she stays like the creepy weird girl.
Yeah, which is awesome because growing up, I'm used to like Breakfast Club where she gets a makeover and in the end she goes out with the football player or whatever. But no, Bridget is OG weird girl to the end, and she is in the sequels too.
Huh.
Can we talk about Sam?
Let's talk about Sam. You have been driving hard for this point.
I have. Okay, so Bridget teams up with the local drug dealer who sells everyone pot and who drives a really shitty van. He actually hits the first werewolf with his van and kills it. And what are you doing, Palmer? What are you doing, baby? Anyway, so he hits the first werewolf with his van and kills it. And he's like, kind of tracks down Bridget because she was there, and he's like, "You've been privy to any lycanthrope activity in the region?" And she's like, "I know what that means, okay?" I know what a werewolf is. And so they kind of team up, and it's awesome. And they are kind of ride or die for each other. At the end, he's like, "We should just like, you cure yourself and we'll go away."
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, he is one of my favorite, he's a character of my favorite trope of late 90s, early 2000 films, which is the weird, like, kind of tough guy drug dealer who is kind of creepy. So Ricky from American Beauty is one, my first crush. Yeah. And Elliot from Slums of Beverly Hills. They're always the MVP.
What about Josh Hartnett from The Faculty?
Yes! Oh my god, that's another one! See, and like, their drug dealing always like helps. Like, it's always like a plot point where it like tips the scales. Because Sam does the thing with the weed.
What?
The like monk's hood or whatever.
Or the wolf, was it like wolfsbane or something?
It was like, I said weed as in not marijuana in that sentence. It wasn't like the actual
So they
plant.
discover an herb that cures lycanthropy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's just amazing and does it. He's dropped out of high school.
Knows his herbs.
Does that shit. He like does research on. He works in a greenhouse.
Oh yeah.
Also.
That he has somehow been able to convert half to growing marijuana.
Loved it. But like, I remember we used to. This was like my favorite thing was he like made the cure by cooking it in a spoon like heroin,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
It is.
It's so funny. But yeah, he's like him and Bridget MVP.
Yeah, they were a good werewolf hunting team.
I agree. And the thing is, like, Bridget goes to him to kind of help, but to protect Ginger, she tells him that it's her, which that she's turning into a werewolf, which I think leads to some humorous moments.
Where she has to admit she's growing a tail.
Yeah, and he's like, but yeah, they're never like no like sexual expectation is placed on them except from like all the assholes around them who are like at one point, and this I forgot about this, but Ginger like goes to the greenhouse and she like starts being a real bitch, and Bridget is like, go wait outside, and she's like, well, if he rapes you, don't come crying to me. And I'm like, no. So that was terrible.
Everyone, all the high schoolers are just sex crazed.
They're
to
demons.
the 11th degree.
Also, after that, Sam was like, I don't think of you that way. Which was very nice. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Oh, that was just my point.
They're demons. Like, it shows Ginger kind of devolving when she starts having sex with, like, the grossest dude. Creepiest.
Yeah.
He tells everyone to, like, come to daddy or whatever. In 2001, like, fuck off. No, that's gross. Like,
I feel like this movie was made by someone who either really doesn't like teens or really does like teens and the teen experience.
Yes. Yeah. How does this compare to our teen experience? Do you think?
I think we like this movie because we felt like we were like the other kids.
Yeah.
We're like, we're the weirdos and everyone else is bad.
Yeah. Oh, that was
But
true.
It was true.
Yeah, we were kind of the Fitzgerald sisters of MHS. I wouldn't go that far. No, we weren't like staging our own suicides, but
Not
yeah.
quite. We didn't have the skills yet.
No, come on. We had to wait for
Very
college.
few kids have the prosthetic skills to pull off what they were.
That is the funniest also plot device, because like whenever their mom finds like fucking body parts around their house, she's like, it's fake. It's just for their photo project.
I
This-
remember, yeah.
Yeah, this movie does mom very little service because she goes from like being like kind of source of humor to being like the awkward mom to being like all of a sudden very clever. Like she kind of brushes off finding the fingers in the yard.
I think she knew they were real. After she said that for the dad, and after a moment, she like realized, because at the end she's like, "You guys have done a really."
She
terrible
dug
thing.
up the body because
Yeah.
I was wondering. Okay, because I didn't catch that she was just lying to him. I thought she just went from. Because suddenly she just went from like joking about the fingers to suddenly digging up a body. It's like, where did that come from?
I think maybe she wanted to believe they were fake, but like it needled at her. I'm putting a lot of impetus on this mom, like her thought
The
process.
mom actually kind of reminds me of the grandpa in The Lost Boys.
Yes.
Where it's like, you think they're just a joke the whole time, but then they knew.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, okay, but the amazing thing, because she does like go really kind of in every which way throughout the movie, but at the end, she confronts Bridget, who like Ginger's like turning into a werewolf at this point.
Oh yeah, she's off like eating people.
Yeah, eating dogs, and poor janitors who really did nothing.
Yeah.
That's like the most tragic death in this movie is the janitor. But the mom is like, Bridget, I know what's going on. I know what you guys did. I'm gonna flood the house with gas. I'm gonna light a match, and we're gonna start over.
She went from 0 to so resourceful
Yes,
so quickly.
I loved it. And she's like, your dad doesn't need to know. You just blame me. Okay, we're just gonna leave. All right, we're just gonna leave. It was funny.
It was very obvious that she had been thinking about that plan for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah. Well, at the very beginning, she was like, your father and I have therapy tonight, so don't leave the house. So, yeah, her and the dad have been, like, not doing good for a long time.
Is this like her long-standing fantasy? So like, fill the house with gas and blow it up?
I think so.
That's my
It
belief.
just took her daughter turning into a werewolf to set it off.
And then the mom just disappears.
Yeah, she does.
She wanders into the party, and the movie never shows what happens to her.
Maybe she got that good kush. Maybe she had a night off.
She
Okay?
became the Canadian weed dealer.
Yeah, she took Sam's place. R.I.P.
kingpin.
Sam. Holy shit. That made me so sad when he died.
That was an awful death.
It was so bad. Because I love Sam so much. He's a real MVP.
Well, we're talking about kind of plot holes.
How dare
I would
you.
like to mention how talented the first werewolf was for just killing dogs.
Yeah.
Like, Ginger is killing people
Immediately.
within a month.
Maybe he had, like, we don't know how, that's the thing. We don't know anything about the first werewolf. We know it's a guy because Sam is like, that dog had a giant uncircumcised man penis. And that's how we knew it was a werewolf. It's just hilarious. But, yeah, maybe he just got good at it. It was just, killing dogs.
I think we need Ginger Snaps for the prequel.
There was a prequel though that took
Was
place
there?
in like Salem, Massachusetts, or
I
like
haven't watched it.
1800s.
It was, yeah.
I wanted the first werewolf, not the first werewolf.
Yeah. The beginning of all things. But yeah, he was doing okay. Like, he was proof that maybe if you're not like a hormonal teenage girl, you can handle being a werewolf. Which sounds really misogynistic. I apologize for that. But yeah.
I would be okay with like a remake that focuses more on like the horror, like how did this come to this community, or even like better developed characters.
Who would you cast in a remake?
Oh, I've been thinking about
What
this.
the hell? Okay. Unexpected.
The two sisters would be Mia Wachowski and Juno Temple.
I need to quit Google.
Mia Wasikowska was Crimson Peak, main girl Crimson Peak.
Okay.
And then Juno Temple,
She's in a bunch of random
in
indie stuff.
a lot of movies for a little time.
Yeah.
But she's
That was the name I didn't recognize.
Yeah. We'll look it up in a minute. But I kind of agree. Yeah, I like both of them. Who would be Sam though?
Just bring back Josh Hartnett.
No, he's too old. Like, I'm
Oh,
definitely.
it's a callback to the original where they cast the same person.
Oh, yeah. What? But now he's like 40 and it's creepier.
Too
Maybe
bad.
he can play the janitor this time.
No!
Oh, no.
I've definitely looked up Chris Limchi's IMDb. Like, he hasn't done much. It's a lot of Canadian stuff I've never heard of, but it's hilarious. So, yeah.
Too bad Anton Yelchin passed away.
Oh, he would have been so good. Oh my god. Yeah. It's just like someone fund this movie for us to make in like an
Let's get a
alternate
Kickstarter
universe.
going.
Yeah. I call John Fawcett, the director, and be like, "Are you okay with this?" Okay, never mind. Okay.
And I think we should get the lady who directed The Babadook.
Yes, Jennifer Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Wow.
we're coming through tonight. We've got it. Yes. So yeah, it's just I love this movie so much.
The prosthetic, like the gore in this I was not expecting it to be as
It was
intense
so
as it
good,
is.
right?
Yeah, even the transformation, which I feel like werewolf movies kind of are make or break based on how the werewolf looks.
Yeah, yeah. Werewolf Ginger is terrifying.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
It is an evil naked mole rat.
Yeah, yeah. Like, they're still, like, their arms and legs are so long, and I hate it. It's creepy looking.
The scene where Bridget, like, pulls down her sister's pants and to see the tail,
Yeah. And it's
that
like,
grossed me out so much.
Ginger was so mean to Bridget. She was literally trying to help.
Yeah.
God.
Like,
she's like, we're in this together, Bridget. And she's like, I'm literally trying to help you not kill people right now.
at no point did Ginger think, I'm becoming a literal monster.
Well, I think she did, but she just, like, gave into it.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have seen more of Bridget struggling with being in her sister's shadow.
Yeah, because the mom is like, when Bridget like goes away from the dinner table and Ginger goes away from the dinner table and Bridget gets up and leaves. She's like, "You're not attached to the wrist. You've always done it. Whatever she tells you, you know." So.
But then she does do that. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna follow her.
Yeah, she's completely subservient to Ginger, but I don't know. I think she makes the right decision in the end. She has to put her out of her misery.
So yeah, in the ending, Bridget kills Ginger.
But not before she infects herself.
Mm-hmm.
So Bridget has the werewolf virus.
Well, she could have cured herself like 5 seconds after the credits started.
Yeah, we do, because in the sequel she's at a sanitarium and she's turning into a werewolf.
Well, I guess we have a canon established.
Yes. So I would like to think that happened though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, this movie doesn't have a lot of like quiet emotional moments. It's a lot of like over the top, like, you know, edgelord TM,
mm-hmm.
you know, welcome to my twisted mind shit.
Yeah. It's very Hot Topic feeling.
Yeah, which I love. But there is the moment when like they're getting ready to go get Ginger, and they have they like get the monk's hood and they put it in a vial and they try it out on the guy Ginger was sleeping with because he contracted it sexually, which is
I thought that was an interesting twist on.
Werewolfism is an STD. Lycanthropy is an STD.
Yeah.
And the best scene with him was when he's peeing into the urinal and it turns red.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, ah!
To be fair, I screamed a little at that scene.
Yeah, and he's like, my red pen exploded. Get away from me. Nothing happened. I'm not pissing blood. Like, it's so scary.
Like, I would just lay down in the bathroom and call 911.
I'm turning into a werewolf, help me. But even in those sex scenes, I'll get back to the moment I was going to talk about. We do this a lot. We get off track, and then we're like, side note, and then talk for half an hour.
We wander in circles.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
Much.
I thought that STD lycanthropy was unnecessary.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It
was an excuse for them to like talk about teens having sex again. But like she already became a werewolf another way.
Yeah. That's true. It would have been more of like an It Follows thing if she had contracted it through sex.
Yeah.
Yes.
But okay, I kind of liked it because, like, I agree, it kind of distracts from the main like thrust of the plot. But I liked in the sex scene where they're in the back of the car, and he's like, she's getting really intense with him, and she's like on top and being really aggressive, and he's like, "Hey, who's the guy here?" And she's like, "Who's the fucking guy?" Like, she like loses her mind.
Yes.
And it's uncomfortable from the perspective of like, you know, consent and respectful sexual relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of empowering to see this like asshole be put in his place. Like, I'm in charge of my own sexuality, even if it's, you know, magnified, made 10 times more aggressive.
It was like
this thing.
His persona of being such a dominant male, it was him realizing like, oh, that's not a healthy persona to have.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's like right in his face.
Now that he's seeing it,
bearing fangs.
It's different. So I like that kind of, you know, weaponized sexuality in the movie. Is this a feminist movie? I have an answer, but I want to know what you guys say.
I think the parts with Bridget were because Bridget feels like a well-developed character that I'm invested in, that is like throws off a lot of like the screaming horror queen tropes.
Yeah.
However, Ginger felt like a lot of just edgy TM.
Okay.
Well, I feel like the message of the movie for so much of it is like about hating being a woman or like not wanting to grow up. So like, is it against women or is it against people? I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I do think this is a feminist movie, but not without its issues. Like, definitely in the internalized misogyny and the girl hate and stuff like that. but I think just in context of the horror genre, it is because just by virtue of having a werewolf movie where instead of the traditional like a young man entering puberty and kind of sowing his wild oats and like that kind of sexual maturation, it like reframes it into for women in a way that tackles like menstruation, which is such a taboo thing. Like in the commercials for pads, they can't even use red dye; they use blue dye because like people are so uncomfortable thinking of period.
Yeah. I mean, you still hear tons of stories about men shaming their girlfriends or wives for this thing that happens every month.
Yeah, exactly. And this takes that. Granted, it's not the most subtle or clever or complex way to do it, but it makes it on the same level as the male werewolf narrative. Like, I've never seen a female werewolf movie like this, which I think is great. And it tackles issues of sex and power and, puberty and growing up and how hard it is to be a teenage girl. And so, yeah, I think this movie's feminist, but not without its problems.
I agree with your points.
Cute.
So
like
do
I think that their roles and like them as developed characters in the movie, that's all feminist, even though I don't think that the like message is feminist.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I would like to see a remake with things evened out a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be good. Now I'm just thinking of Anton Yelchin's Sam, and I'm like very sad that never happened. But yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say like no quiet moments in this movie at all, like no little emotional things, except at the very end, when they're like readying the syringes to like cure Ginger. Sam turns to Bridget and he's like, you might kill her trying to save her. And she's like, what? And he's like, I know it's not you. I know you're doing this for your sister, and I understand, but you gotta be real. Like, you may have to put her out of her misery. And it was like a very weirdly grounded moment in the middle of this like insane werewolf movie. But yeah, I love that moment.
I like that moment a lot too, because it's like preparing for the final confrontation. You need that one quiet moment at least. Otherwise, it's just an action movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It was also a very tense moment. That happened when they were trapped in the closet, right?
Was it a little before?
Or when they were riding over to the house?
It was one of those. But it was tense because they had her in the back.
Yeah.
At least. Or she was loose in the house.
And at the very end of this movie, they tried to be very emotional when Bridget kills Ginger.
Yeah.
And to me, that didn't feel earned because there weren't enough emotional beats between the sisters.
I agree.
The rest of the movie.
I was wondering, like, we're supposed to be mourning for Bridget when she's, like, been a demonic horse of nature. Which is part of her appeal. Like,
Ginger.
What?
You said Bridget.
I'm sorry. God. We're supposed to be mourning for Ginger when she's been, like, the worst. Which is definitely part of why people like her, because she's so over the top and, like, I'm just gonna kill all these guys and it's fine. And just embracing that evil is really fun to watch. But when it comes down to it, like, I'm not sad she's dead.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen her, rather than kill all these innocent people in the school, I kind of wish that she just, like, massacred the jocks.
Yeah, like the asshole dudes that would, like, heckle her and, like, check out her tits and stuff. Yeah. That would have been so much, that would have been Jennifer's body. Yeah. But, yeah, when she was killing, the innocent janitor.
The janitor who helped her sister, or the counselor who tried to help her.
Yeah, and it was like, the janitor thing bothered me because the janitor at one point had helped Bridget, and he was like, and Ginger comes up and says, he was looking down your shirt or whatever, and like kind of framed it like that, which I don't think he was.
He wasn't.
And then at the end, when Ginger kills the janitor, she's like, he was a creep and he wanted to have sex with you and he likes little girls and you know that or whatever. And like, Now you're just like using that as justification. Like
Yeah.
that is not in the text of the film. You're just being, extra. God, she's so extra.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the movie is when they all go to the greenhouse and Ginger finds his like weed stash and she's like, "Wicked, smoke us up," and he's like, "Wicked, get the fuck out." Amazing.
The biggest what the fuck moment.
Okay.
I don't know if this is an actual thing or just for a movie. But when the mom finds out that Ginger had her period, she bakes her a period cake.
I mean, that didn't
is
happen
that-
to me. I don't know. I think it showed that the mom was overbearing. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's normal.
No. But, I mean, it's not so out of the realm of... I don't think it was a period cake. She was just like, I know you're feeling... Because she was, like, having intense cramps and, like, feeling really shitty. So she might be like, oh, you like this.
I definitely thought it was
Okay.
a cake in celebration of this moment.
I think she was just trying to make her feel better.
Well,
You know what? Knowing this movie, they would have like wrote on top of the
Yeah,
cake.
happy-
Like,
Congratulations.
Happy period day, Jen.
Like if that's what it was,
Mhm.
they would have hit us over the head with it.
It's a stereotype, but when you are on your period, you do like to have sweet stuff and chocolate. Okay, it does make you feel better.
Listen, no one here will shame anyone for eating sweet stuff
Okay.
or for anything like that.
I mean, that's the reality of having a vagina. You gotta get your sweets on once a month, dude. But yeah, do you have a WTF moment in this movie? It all seems so familiar to us.
Well,
now,
I have
'cause
to
we've seen
retract
it.
mine now. That I misread it.
Probably one of those first dog carcass scenes. Because any time that I watch this movie, I like just forget about all of that and like how realistic it looks. But then like the first or second time, that's probably the worst one, right?
Yeah.
When you see another one, it's like it's still bad.
Yeah.
So pretty much any dog carcass made me say, what the fuck?
I mean, fair point. Yeah.
Especially when it's in the middle of a field that
Yeah.
they're playing on.
Just chilling.
And they just trip over it. Where did this come from?
Yeah, exactly. I would have liked it to have set up that it was Halloween more. Because there's nothing like having a Halloween dance at the end of a movie. That's my favorite thing.
They didn't even show a dance.
They didn't set it up. They didn't show it.
Just put a couple
right in
towards the end. You know a movie that does that incredibly well? The Guest, which we'll talk about. But they do
here in like what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Any other points you guys wanted to talk about? I feel like I've been talking the whole time. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think I've talked about everything on my notes.
Why did you not take notes?
No.
Unprofessional.
I think I would like to have seen this in because I found it on YouTube and it was only in 360 definition.
Yeah.
So
it's like not available anywhere except like Google Play to rent.
What?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Hmm.
It used to be on a lot of things.
Should have taped it when it was on IFC.
Get our old VHS.
Oh man.
Yeah. We need to find our old texting transcripts.
I think I still have like the phone that I use. There's probably some like
That's so funny.
ancient text messages.
And we were trying so hard to be funny and clever. We'd be like, "Oh, this is it," and
I remember like timing a joke and being like,
yes.
I'm gonna send this when this thing
Yes.
happens. Because it's a movie we've both seen. And we're just telling jokes about it.
Yeah, we were Mystery Science Theatering it from like 20 miles away from each other, like via digital text. It was wild, but I loved it. Some of my fondest memories.
Oh, very nice memories.
Yeah.
So, final thought. So I'm assuming you all would heartily recommend this movie.
Heartily?
Heartily.
Not hardly.
No, not heartily.
Yes.
Yes.
I love this movie so much. It's stupid. Don't expect a lot. It's dumb.
Yeah,
But-
I don't think it's for everyone.
No.
And I
No.
understand why people don't like it.
But if you're like a goofy little goth teen, love it. If you like cuties who drive vans and sell you marijuana with a little cigarette behind their ear, you love it.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I'd seen it with like you guys or like a midnight crowd.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be good. I think it would have been much more funny
Mm-hmm.
if you would have seen it.
Because I just watched this alone and I was like,
Maybe if you had watched it as a teen.
maybe
You're an
maybe
old
if I
man.
maybe if I had those rose tinted glasses.
Now you're like, I imagine you watching this movie and just like shaking your fist and like waving your cane.
Listen, I thought there was a lot of good elements about this movie. I wouldn't not recommend it. I just am
Reading endorsement.
I am more excited about the remake possibilities.
There is not going to be a remake, and the fact that you're like speaking this into existence is crazy.
I wish that everyone could see just how offended Lynn got. In that moment.
I like reared back like a snake about to strike. It was intense. But yeah, so two like absolutelys for recommendation, or would it be a little less?
A little less.
Okay, an absolutely, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah. And then
And then
Okay.
real spectrum.
Well, that was Ginger Snaps. Awesome. We finally did it. We finally got Ty in a room with us to talk. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about kind of some stuff going on in horror. This is kind of our free-for-all section, I guess. Do you want to talk about the True Detective Season 3 news?
Yes. So 2 weeks ago we did Green Room,
Mm-hmm.
and only
Our best episode, also.
it was
like
yeah, that was a great one. And then a couple days ago it was announced. Well, it's been long that, but Mahershala Ali was announced for. Is he the lead?
Yes, lead of True Detective Season 3, Mahershala Ali from Moonlight and Luke Cage
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things.
Yeah.
Place Beyond the Pines, the True
I need to
MVP.
see that.
But yeah, he was announced as the lead in True Detective Season 3, which we have a checkered history with True Detective, I think. Did you like Season 2?
I haven't seen season 2.
Don't.
I feel like my patience for it
Boring.
is probably more than you and Anna Luisa's.
Okay.
So
It's really boring, dude. I have no idea what happened.
I
watched 10 episodes.
You know me, I can do slow burn.
I know you can. First season, though,
Perfect.
amazing. Just icon. Well, I thought the ending was a letdown, but that was because they built it up so much with all the mythology, and then it was kind of a straightforward ending. But and I feel like that's horror. Crime and horror overlap a lot.
Yeah, and especially since there was kind of Lovecraft mythos.
Yeah.
in the
There was
first
like
season.
a lot of like weird southern cults and
The Yellow King.
The Yellow King.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and did you watch True Detective Season 1?
No.
Oh, it's really good. But Matthew McConaughey had like visions because he took too many drugs at one point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I feel like
Time's a flat circle, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting like the same level of weirdness
Mm-hmm.
for season 2, and it was more straightforward.
It was straightforward, but infinitely harder to understand. Oddly. Yeah. But so season 3, they're trying to make a comeback after season 2. Nobody really knew if it was gonna come back after season 2, but Nick Pizzolatto, he's like the showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he came up with a new story.
And it's set in like the northern Ozarks.
It is set in Northwest Arkansas.
Ugh.
I know, and it's like Mahershala Ali. It's a like state cop
Highwayman
or something, and he's investigating some weirdness in our old stomping grounds because Nick Pizzolatto went to U of A.
Wow.
So I feel like it's gonna be set around Fayetteville.
Maybe I have to watch this show now.
But
Tyler went to University of Arkansas. But yeah.
The really exciting news is that Jeremy Saulnier
Yes.
has been brought on board.
Yes!
And I mean, we've been singing his praises for a while now.
Mm-hmm. He interacted with us on Twitter, which was crazy. But yeah, Jeremy Saulnier, director of Green Room, Blue Ruin, He is going to direct all episodes of True Detective Season 3, which is like a Cary Fukunaga situation, which Cary Fukunaga did all of Season 1, like a long-ass movie, so it's going to be everything.
I'm
so
excited, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Cary Fukunaga tangentially, do you want to talk about the early reviews of It and Shape of Water?
You can talk about It. I want to talk about Shape of Water.
Okay, so tangentially for Cary Fukunaga, because years ago, when they first announced the It remake, Cary Fukunaga was attached as director and screenwriter. He left at some point, but he still wrote the script.
There were some creative differences.
Yeah, and I mean, which had me really worried, but now that we've seen all the trailers and stuff, Andre Muschietti seems like a perfect choice, and I'm very excited. But anyway, early reviews have come in. There's kind of an embargo, so there's nothing like super detailed, but like tweets have come out from people who've seen it who say it is amazing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be way funnier than anyone was expecting.
Unexpectedly funny, really fun, really scary. So like the perfect popcorn movie, kind of.
So I don't think we should go in expecting like a really dark, edgy movie, but something more Amblin-esque.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about Amblin lately, which is like the Steven Spielberg kind of
golden era.
Like the Goonies and E.T. and
Poltergeist.
So like families or young kids on bikes doing things and solving mysteries and Stranger Things and stuff like that.
But this is also rated R, so it's
so
it will be intense.
It's gonna be great. We got tickets for next Saturday.
So excited.
Yeah, we're gonna see it in like a good theater, not the one in our shitty town.
I want to know what you think when you watch it.
Yeah, totally. I'll let you know. Okay. Shape of Water?
So Guillermo's new movie premiered at the Venice Film Festival. It's a movie set in the Cold War about a deaf...
She's mute, I think.
Okay. Mute. I just forgot her name. Sally
Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins and her love for the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it's the Abe Sapien fanfic that everyone wanted to be made into a movie.
And the reviews have been overwhelmingly positive.
100%.
People are calling it his best movie since Pans.
Yep. I think it's dark horse for award season. I'm so excited.
Well, no Oscars are going to be given to it because it features a scene of a lady boning down with a fish man.
I mean, there have been weirder things that were awarded by Oscar. I'm hoping that they finally break their stupid streak of like never
I would love
awarding
a genre. Yeah. We got evil Michael Shannon, who I love.
I'd give my life for him. He is our generation's John Malkovich, and I said that to Wyeth once, and he got really mad at me.
What?
Because you were like, John Malkovich is our generation's John Malkovich.
He is!
But for us, it's Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon is so weird, and I love him.
Yeah. So Shape of Water is going to be lit. She's going to fuck her a fish. She's going to do it. And it's gonna be great. Also, I heard that like there's a scene where every day she starts her day by masturbating in the bathtub.
Wow.
I know. It's good. It's so good.
The movie we've all been waiting.
I know. I'm like, how could it get better? And then it just keeps getting better.
Guillermo's like, you know what? Crimson Peak didn't have enough sex, so we're just ramping that up.
I agree. Like, yeah, but that's for another day. Okay.
We'll talk about that in our special Guillermo episode.
Yeah, look for it this December. We're doing director themed episodes. If you are interested.
I'm interested.
Okay. All right, so Tyler, we're gonna watch the Twin Peaks finale tonight.
Yes.
So maybe I thought we could talk a little bit about Twin Peaks, the new series.
Okay. I love it, first off. Twin Peaks is like one of my favorite things ever. So
you got me into it,
too.
That's another big thing in our friendship. We have a media-based friendship, I'd say. So yeah, it's Ginger Snaps and Twin Peaks and Grease.
Yeah. And so like it coming back was really important to me, and I had like really high expectations, which I feel it is mostly met. But like in the middle, there's some like really weird or bad episodes, but I kind of expected that from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
But the last like 2 or 3, so good.
They've
And
been
I feel like
wonderful.
the finale tonight is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it was just I've been frustrated with it, but like I'm not mad at it, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a difference because I mean, I expected it to be a little bit more straightforward, like the older series, which kind of eased you into the weirdness, but I think now it like they know who their audience is and they know like people who really love the old series are into weirdness.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some of like the visual flair was missing. I think some of it like it didn't look like Twin Peaks to me for a lot of the time. But that's okay, I guess. I just they really held back on letting Coop come back for a long time, which I know is purposeful, but it was driving me crazy. So Coop, Dale Cooper, main character in Twin Peaks, was like woke up as Dougie Jones, and he was not how would you describe it?
Sort of brain dead. He's
like he was brain dead.
Learning how to be a human again.
Yeah, and he would just repeat the last 2 or 3 words of everyone's sentences.
Yeah, which actually like gets him by.
Yeah, they're like, Dougie, what the hell are you doing? He's like, you doing? That's it. And all these people would not help this man, which really upset me.
All of Janie E's dialogue is so smart in the way that she like mentions things that are happening to him, and then he can just repeat those words. Yeah, and it works.
Exactly.
It's so smart.
Well, he finally woke up. Like Dale is back. Cooper is back. The MVP. He woke up last episode, and his boss in the hospital room was like, "The FBI's coming," and he's like, "I am the FBI," and it was like putting on the sunglasses, like, ah! CSI Miami moment. I loved it.
I'm wondering if the like flair of old Twin Peaks will be in the finale now.
I hope so.
Because like is the first third so dark because we're seeing like the world through the filter of evil Cooper.
Ooh, okay.
And then like we're starting to see things as we have Dougie, and he's like not all there, so it's not all there.
Yeah.
Maybe now things will look like Twin Peaks again.
Oh my god, that's true because we're getting Dale in Twin Peaks for the first time.
Yeah.
In the last 2 episodes, and it's going to rock my world. Like I thought. There's a lot happening, but I think I have solid ground. I'm a little bit on solid ground. I kind of know what's going on now, but it's an experience, if anything. It was worth it for me for episode 8.
Yeah, I think that I enjoy it now that I know that it's totally its own thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like having seen it, if I had set aside my expectations from the beginning, I would have enjoyed it the whole time. But I got myself frustrated because it wasn't like the old Twin Peaks.
Yeah. I think the only funny thing to me is, like, people on Tumblr are like, yeah, I totally get it, and, like, it's a masterpiece. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't like it half the time, but I'm watching it. Okay, no one gets it. Quit pretending you, like, know what David Lynch is thinking with everything, because, like, no one does. I don't know if David does.
I'm following the plot, but there are some things that it's like, these are just symbols and images.
Yeah,
yeah. Like, you just have to, like, follow the tone of it, but you're not ever gonna, like, get it.
Yeah, you just gotta feel it. I describe Lynch to people as, like, it's not about understanding it, it's about how this collection of sounds and images, like, makes you feel. It's about eliciting emotion rather than understanding exactly the plot.
I feel like a lot of Lynch has been tried to be taken over by the film bros who think like, oh, everything's supposed to have a meaning. And
you talking about that dude in our class?
I could be. But no, there's just like that group of like the film bros who love Kubrick. They love symbolism, and
Yeah.
they think that they're the only ones who have the keys to the kingdom.
We've talked about demonic film bros quite a bit. I hate them.
Me too.
Because, in my opinion, gay women are the best viewers of media. Like, that's my working theory, is that, like, yeah, we can watch, like, scary dude-centric movies and, like, see it for what it is. Like, that's just me. So, but whatever. Yeah, so Twin Peaks tonight. I'm really excited. That's, like, part of also the reason that we came down to do this with Tyler, so I could stay and watch it with him. So yeah. One other thing, a shameless self-plug. I'm getting published on Bloody Disgusting.
I'm so excited
I
for
got
you.
a pitch picked up about the feminisms of Wes Craven, and it will be published soon.
Oh, I didn't know it was about Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's really exciting, and I'm excited about it, and I wanted to share. So personal picks.
I'm a big fan of a director named Eli Craig. He did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which I feel like is a very underloved movie. I feel like there needs to be a bigger cult following.
It's hilarious. I think it'll build in the coming years.
I like it's very like has a lot of heart, and I like that. And he just released a movie on Netflix called Little Evil, starring a personal favorite, Adam Scott.
A personal favorite of all of us.
It's a spoof of The Omen, where this guy marries Evangeline Lilly, know her from Lost, and her son is basically Damien, and Adam Scott's character Greg has to come to terms with he is now stepdad to the Antichrist.
Fun.
And it's a fun movie. It's like it's not like it's nowhere near like a made movie, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot like I thought there were some surprisingly tender scenes between Greg and the Antichrist son, where the son is learning what it's like to actually have a good dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it yesterday. It came out on Netflix a few days ago. It's pretty good. It's funny. Yeah.
It's a good afternoon viewing.
Yeah. Adam Scott's charming as always. Love that boy.
His best friend, Al. What was her name?
Her name was Al.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the most interesting thing, because I think she was written as a dad, like as a man, because they keep saying like, I'm your stepdad. Me and the dads, Al and everything, but it's played by Bridget Everett as a super butch lesbian. She's like, I'm your stepdad now. So she was the best part.
She was such a fun character. Yeah.
She was the best.
I like that.
Yeah.
That kind of answered the question from a few weeks ago of not seeing a lot of queer characters in horror.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, in this movie, there's this really like loving lesbian relationship, and she seems like a good mom. She's like, my kids are evil, but she's, she'll support them.
Yeah. She was definitely the best part of that movie. I loved her. Tyler, personal pick?
Yeah, I also prepared a personal pick. I've been playing this game, and it's actually a really short game too. I beat it like 2 days ago. It's called Layers of Fear, and it's about a demented artist making his masterpiece. So a lot of the game, well, all of the game, you're in this house, and you're walking around like learning things about him and like collecting things for your art. But like all of these visual gimmicks happen. So like one of the main things that it does is instead of walking into a room and then leaving the room and you're back in the other room, you're in another room. So it moves the plot forward by you going room to room. But it like repeats certain rooms. So you're like, oh, I'm in the kitchen again, but now the kitchen is on fire.
Okay.
And because he's like going insane, like scary things will happen with his paintings and like reality shifting. So you're like, maybe you'll enter a room and everything is upside down and on the ceiling, and you're on the roof now. It's a lot of fun. It's not actually like scary, but it's just cool what it does visually.
Like some good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it kind of like the Amnesia series? Did you play any of those?
It's sort of that vibe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like ghosts in the house too. So like not
Ooh.
only are you going crazy, but there's also some danger.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Wyatt finally has someone to talk to about video games.
I'm always looking for someone. Not a lot of us in our social circle in Stillwater.
No. So my personal pick is, we talked about it actually the other day. Macon Blair from Blue Ruin and Green Room. He directed a movie called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which is a very long title.
Some real brand new song title.
Yeah, but it's not horror, I wouldn't say, but it's crime, and when I'm not watching horror, I watch a crime movie, so crime is probably my second favorite genre. And it's similar to Somner, but it's like a little bit more lighthearted and more, has more levity, I guess. But it's about a woman played by Melanie Linsky, and she's deeply depressed, and she comes home, and her house has been robbed. And they didn't take much because she didn't have much to take. So they took a few things, and she is so just beat down by how people treat each other. She's like, people are just assholes, fuck faces, I fucking hate them. She has a very quiet voice. She's like so done with like people being terrible to each other. So she decides to find out who did it because the police aren't helping. She teams up with Elijah Wood, who is her neighbor, who has a rat tail and does a lot of weird kung fu and listens to speed thrash metal in his backyard. So it's like weirdly.
As you do.
Yeah, it's very. I was like, Wyeth, but.
But no rat tail.
But yeah, so it's sweet. It's like two weirdo outcasts like trying to make something right, I guess, by doing it very poorly in this white trash setting, and people die unexpectedly, everything goes wrong, they're in way over their heads, but somehow they make it out and they figure out who did it, and, complications ensue, and it gets incredibly violent. But
I feel like that is kind of part of a wave of indie drama where kind of realistic characters who are just drastically in over the head, like Saulnier is kind of at the head of this. Jim Mickle, I think, does a good job.
What did he do?
He's done a lot of horror. Stakeland, which is a great little flick. Mulberry Street, and Cold in July, which I think is an incredible little deep-fried Southern noir movie.
Oh, I love those. See, that I Don't Feel at Home feels Southern because it's all so white trashy, but I think it's like set in California. It like feels that way.
I feel like California can have white trash.
No, they go to like a swamp at one point, so maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, the setting was unclear, but it was creepy. Also, it introduced me to an absolute banger called Bring on the Dancing Horses by Echo and the Bunnymen is on that soundtrack, and I like immediately looked it up and have been cranking it for days.
I like that band.
Yeah, so that's a good soundtrack. It's really well shot, really creepy, relatable, and relatable characters. Loved it. It was awesome. Yeah. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I'm ready for next week.
What is it again?
It.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
Where we will finally answer the question. Y'all ready for it?
Tyler's embarrassed to be. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for hosting us.
Totally. Yeah, thanks for hosting us. We had to get this one done.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I requested we do this.
Yeah.
Movie, so I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for contributing. It was lovely.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Keely behaved like a man demented, obsessed. lost.